I'm the man, yes sir, that killed the bear barehanded so the people won't forget it. Getting money for I was legal to drink. I care what a broke nigga think.
Just like the pack of Lewis.
Look, everything I do so cold. I can do this, both eyes closed. Too short, I stay on my toes. About that guap boy, anything goes. Help the bear if we outside. Help the bear if we outside. Still tipping, baby, nothing changed. I'm still grinding over here, yeah. Still sliding through my own lane. Shorty, nothing funny over here. Dallas rain everywhere around me. Dream to get money. Made it through the storm, living sunny. Dream came true, now we eating. I got more dreams to chase, gotta reach them. Trying to put a team together like the Hunger Games. Everybody grinding because we all came from hunger pain.
Rolling and controlling in CB4. Late ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing in StreetGeek and NERDSoul. What is up, my people? Today, all year, come with another wonderful episode of That's Right On Screen, and we talking that Star Trek. Shouts out to Clever Little Vixen early in the chat, and Malcolm Lee that was early in the chat as well. Yo, we got some good stuff coming to you, because right over here, we have not only a sorcerer, but a cinematic sorcerer. I present to you, Solar Gray.
Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Solar Gray, the cinematic sorcerer, and what is going on? Are we ready to talk about some Trek?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know I'm ready to talk about some Trek. I got some Trek.
Let's see. Where should we start at this? Where should we start? Okay. We're here. We're in episode 2. How do you feel about Saru's return? How do you feel about him being back?
All right. So with this one, I gotta say, with this one, it's a little odd. Like, I'm not used to the lack of Starfleet organization. So it's kind of like, okay, Saru is back. Sweet. Is he still part of the Federation? Okay, yeah, all right. He was just given a command, and now it's just like, all right, cool. But I really, all right. So every Star Trek show has its, every Star Trek show has its Spock. All right, everyone from Leonard Nimoy to Brent Spiner. I forgot the name of the Doctor, but to the Doctor, to even Odo, So with Saru being gone and them not having the Spock character, it was a little off, like, I don't want to say off-putting, but it didn't feel right. You know what I mean? So they needed that character. Now, it being Saru was a little weird. It was a little weird for me because it hurts my heart when I see the trope of a character goes through hell and then they find peace. And then they leave that peace to go back to work.
Yeah, I was like, man, I kind of thought he'd be good where he was, or at least maybe at least wait a little bit longer. Maybe like one
Yeah.
more episode. Um, yeah, maybe that'd be it. Maybe one more episode before we kind of, I guess, reintroduce him because him he was fine where he was.
Yeah.
And we can bring someone else into into the fold and have them be the next to rep or something like that. Maybe
In truth, I wanted to
Bryce or
see.
somebody could step up and be or maybe
Well,
I,
yeah,
I
that
don't
was
know
the
someone.
thing. I was kind of hoping that Tilly would keep the job and kind of grow into it in the same way that Saru
Yeah,
did. You know?
yeah. I mean, Tilly's dope, and now it's weird because we're bringing Saru back in. We're kind of it's good because we're kind of putting things back where they were, but then it's bad because it's like we're not letting him grow, like because he was like an elder on this planet, and then the people respected his opinion, and he was happy where he was,
Yeah.
and he was helping them be a better people or a better Kelpian or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's kind of,
now
I'm
he's
like, okay,
gone
elder
to help the
bureaucrat
Federation.
kind of, yeah, that whole elder bureaucrat being that thing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And then
although,
them also respecting his perspective on stuff,
yeah.
which I thought was cool.
Although, the way that they wrote him, I'm not too mad.
Yeah.
I'm not too
I
mad
can
about what
because I
they
mean
did.
I can see feeling like, all right, I know I'm in a good place, but there's a crisis and this is a friend of mine and I don't want her to go through it by herself. So I
Yeah.
I get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I get it, but it's just like, dang, man, he was cool.
Yeah.
Um
And there's
so
also the she needed somebody that she would listen to,
mhm.
and they haven't really built anybody else on the show up to be around who could get through.
Well,
Berman's
we
brain.
kind of had three. Giorgio's gone,
Mhm.
both versions.
Yeah.
Both versions are gone. Tilly, she's still there, but she's more dealing with Adira and Stamets downstairs somewhere. Or I don't
Yeah.
know if it's downstairs. I still don't have the full layout of the ship. It's downstairs. Maybe it's upstairs. I don't know. Something like that.
Well, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking
And
about
then Saru.
nope.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. Well, no. What I'm really talking about on this is, Tilly is cool, and Oo is cool. Okay, but when it comes down to it, Burnham has always been there for them. They're
Okay,
kind of
okay.
like her little siblings and stuff like that. But nobody from the old days kind of has that place in Tilly's head as an equal and sometimes superior.
Okay.
So the fact that he can be there and go, hold up, you know the right thing to do. Like, I've had command. I know what you're going through. I also know you. I remember you from when I didn't like you, but I still know you. And their dynamic in this episode really showed why it's important for him specifically, because everything he was saying was the stuff that made sense, but it was the same stuff everybody else was saying. But Burnham isn't used to listening to anybody except for Giorgio and Saru. I mean, unless we can pull some Discovery wackiness and get Captain Pike back on there, she's not really going to take any counsel.
Tilly's gotten through to her before. They've had heart to hearts.
They've had a heart to heart, but it's not a regular thing. I mean, that's more of an outlier.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's Tilly going, "I don't know what to do, Michael. What should I do?" But Michael hasn't really had anybody to go to saying, "You know what? I'm not sure." And Saru was like, "I know. I know, and the job kind of sucks sometimes, don't it? You know, and I so I've got mixed feelings. I like the fact that he had found peace and he had essentially become the man. He had really become the man.
Yeah.
And then he left that and went back to work, and it was like I was guiding a planet. Now I've got to go back on this ship full of crazy people.
No, they're not crazy, but everyone, welcome Hannibal Taboo to the show. Hannibal, we're talking about the return of the big homie Saru. How are you feeling about the return?
I'm more worried about the Kelpians without him, because he has a unique perspective and connection to their culture that is unparalleled. He knows them from their darkest times. He knows them at their brightest points. And he has seen the scope of that. His wisdom, frankly, is irreplaceable. And while I do appreciate the role that he plays on Discovery and, the sounding board for Michael, I think from a character standpoint, him leaving his people behind is a bad choice. I do. I'm a person watching TV standpoint, it's a fantastic choice. Yay, this is great for me, but I think it really screws over the Kelpians. And I believe, especially in this new post-burn society, that they need that guidance. They need that steady hand, that voice of reason that has so much experience, much more than ever.
And the fact that they respect it is a beautiful thing too.
Yeah.
Because they could be like, oh, nobody wants to listen to you. But they actually respect his position, which is great. And I mean, that's why I'm torn on this, because I do agree. This guy has found his place. He loves the place loves him. The people have been doing well. But Sukal has been doing well. But I can understand saying, oh, hold up, a whole planet blew up? And my friend's at the center of it? And I know Giorgio's gone. I know there's no one really there for her. So, I guess I kind of get it. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'd make that decision too. I don't know. I don't know.
I will say, if I was able to have more certainty that he could say, oh, well, the gravimetric wave, it's not headed toward the Kelpians, so I'm going to go help him. But if it's in any remote way possibly headed towards the Kelpians, I think this is going to be a decision he will drastically regret.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. And well, let's go on and talk about the wave. You know what I'm saying? Might as well talk about the wave, the anomaly that we're all dealing with. We'll get to booking stuff in a second, but the wave. I was wondering, and I could be wrong, but at the beginning of this, when they're showing the models of the possible black holes and like the swirling stuff and the gravimetrics and all that stuff, I was like, I wonder if this thing is sentient. Now,
I'm willing to bet that it's sentient.
I don't know for sure, but at the end of the episode or close to the end, they did say that like it changed, direction. Kind of like on a whim. So, and they did that pullback thing where I was like, are they trying to make this look like an eye? Or I was like, is this me? I was like, is it me? Am I tripping? Or so I pose this to you guys. What do you think that this wave is now that we've dealt with it at least a little bit?
My hope for it is different than what I think it is. My hope for it is that it's just space trying to murder everybody, because there's no truer expression of space than trying to murder everybody without discrimination, without consideration, without any thought at all. That's what space is for. It's like, that's why it's like, we put planets for you. Space is what we put in between those things. We try to murder you at every point. However, given what you said with the pullback and with the shape of the eye and yada, yada, if this turns out to be some giant space kaiju that needs a hug, I don't know what the specific deals would be there, but frankly, I don't think I'm gonna like it. I was somewhat, when we found out what was the cause of the burn, I was honestly a little let down, because again, putting a personal face, putting a personal attachment to it creates these kind of touchy-feely, talk it out kind of non-sciencey, non-science fiction resolutions, which are cute and all. Don't get me wrong, but they feel to me a little disingenuous, a little like anthropomorphizing the universe in a way that, frankly, the evidence does not support. And for me, that's a logical problem in seeing, you know, in the same way, so many species are humanoids. You know, we don't have anything like the ooze on the Orville that's an engineer. We don't have, you know, we have so many humanoid species that have same basic kind of idea to them, the same basic thing. And honestly, I'm bored.
We don't have many more like people like Murph in Star Trek Prodigy.
Exactly.
Or well, I guess
Murphy,
not even a people. It's a Jello.
I disagree.
Jello slug dog bubble.
And you're
thing?
welcome to disagree, but I'm just saying, for me, I want a much more robust and interesting future.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I think about Star Trek as a whole, okay? And the strange new worlds they've got, but to seek out new life and new civilizations. And that's the big thing. I think back to the crossover episode of The Next Generation with Scotty and Geordi, where the baby organism just latched onto the ship and was sucking out its electricity. That thing was never brought up. That was talked about neither before nor since on that show. It was just something that lived out there. And when it comes to making this thing sentient, that's what I'm hoping. I'm really hoping that this gravitational thing is just a being that lives in space. Not necessarily a kaiju that needs a hug, but I think about, using the kaiju analogy, I think about the monster from Cloverfield, which turned out to just be a confused baby. A confused baby looking for food. And I think, in my personal opinion, that's where my hope is. I hope that it is sentient and that it's just out there doing a thing. And it's like, well, this thing destroyed my planet. Well, this thing, it is sentient, but it's not sapient yet. It's a baby. And that very much is a science fiction thing, that questioning of when do we consider something a life form? When is it hostile? When isn't it hostile? And I think that's where I see it going. Now I'll be very disappointed if it turns out to be sentient, sapient, and malevolent. But if it's just a thing, a baby thing out there going, hey, what's that? And this is the damage in its wake, I would love it. I really would. Especially in a Star Trek show, because let's be real. Star Trek is human grade propaganda, and it always has been. So to have something out there that's just like, just a little bit of, I don't want to say cosmic horror, but cosmic scope, on that sense of, like the Borg was when they first came about, or the god that needed a starship from Star Trek V. You know what I mean? Just something out there that's big, incomprehensible, and we'll figure out a science gack way of showing it that food is over there. and then we put up the big line that said, don't go over there, because that thing might mistake you for food. Because we still technically haven't established a neutral zone in this show either. So all of space is just all of space. And Star Trek, no matter what show we're talking about, has always had that idea of, exploring, except there be dragons. Like, there either be dragon or there be something out there that don't like us very much. So I think this would be, after, at season 4, a good introduction to a reason that you can't go to a certain sector. Because there's a big baby thing that's a gravitational field that might mistake you for a threat or for food or something to play with in case it's like a cat. And but it plays with black holes, or it is a black hole that kind of wants to bat you around a little bit because it doesn't know what else you are. And I dig that. I would dig it if it
Now,
went there.
quick thing from Clever Low Vixen says, was anyone else reminded of Generations during this? And can we talk about the 2 or 3 times the Enterprise birthed a space squid while we talk about that one time it sucked one? So
I mean, there's a lot of space. You get bored. You need stuff to do. People got needs.
Wait.
I'm not mad at those specific things.
Are we implying that the Enterprise is a deadbeat dad? It's just birthing space squids and going, all right, you on your own.
I mean, look at its captain for a long time. I'm just gonna say,
Fair. Fair. If the original series has anything to say, like at least 10% of alien species out there are 1% descended from Captain Kirk. So
just saying.
Oh.
Just saying. There's a whole lot of samples of Kirk around the galaxy. Just putting it out.
Yeah, Kirk.
And Chekhov.
He had his
but
time.
let's not forget Chekhov. Chekhov was a bigger player than we let on. He was just not obvious about it.
Oh boy. So yeah, I'm wondering if it's sentient, like some weird gas or thing or some weird like form or shape that we can't see. But inside of it, I do like how we got our kind of mini story with your boy Stamets and Book.
Yeah.
Stamets and Book.
Nice.
This was the locked in a bank episode. Yeah, the locked in a bank episode where 2 characters are stranded, or 2 characters that don't get along are stranded, and that's where they become friends.
Yeah, or at least some kind of mutual respect, because Book is going through it this episode, and rightfully so. And
it actually hit me over the week. Like I was thinking about the season premiere between these shows, and what hit me was, while I was watching this episode, and Michael is like, he hasn't come out of his room for weeks. He's not talking. He's not this. And I'm like, hold up. An empath just watched their planet die. That's scarring. Like, it's scarring for anybody. Like, anybody. It's like, man, any of us who have ever had a death in the family or lost a pet, that kind of thing hurts. But to be that level of empathic, and
that's connected to the planet in like a physiological or spiritual kind of way.
I mean, most sci-fi heads or sci-fantasy heads can remember when Obi-Wan felt the death of Alderaan, and he was light years away, but Book watched it burn. And this was that moment when I'm like, okay, Michael, you need to back off him for a minute and let him feel, because you don't understand the magnitude of what he's going through. And then with the argument of, nah, man, I'm going. Like, I'm not Starfleet. You can't tell me what to do. I got my own ride. I'm gonna hop in that whip and I'm gonna go.
I do what I want.
But she did like back off, saying like, you might think that, but your thing endangers this ship. So why are you in my house? And I'm like, okay, all right, mom and dad are fighting. This is kind of cool. But when they sent the hologram, and I'm like, okay, we got the 2 people locked in, and it's the 2 people that can use the spore drive, which is like a seriously good thing. It's like this show knows that there are cynical people watching it. Seriously. I don't know. You wouldn't happen to know any of the writers, would you, Hannibal? No. So
I'll never tell.
But having them, like, the thing I dig, and this is hard for me to say because I don't really like that character. Yeah, I don't really like that guy. I want to.
Stamets or?
Yeah, I don't really like Stamets. I want to like Stamets, but I'm like, dude, I was this close to liking you. Like, this close.
I'm going to be for real. Stamets grew on me. At first, but he grew on me.
He does mess with the spore drive, so I can see it, Fungally infections.
I appreciated seeing Stan. Well, first of all, I mean, I've been a fan of the actor since he was in Rent. That was my first exposure to him, and I've really enjoyed the snark that he brings to a lot of things. He really nails the snark of Stamets in this role. And I mean, like, you get a hint of it in Rent, but you really, really see, oh, this dude can be a jerk. But he's actually in real life super cool. But anyway, so watching him play this and brush up again, the line book says, like, this is the most you've spoken to me in months.
Yeah.
And it was like, the friction there was very real between two actors who are very good at it. If you remember, the brother who played Book was also Manchester Black on I believe the Supergirl series, if I remember correctly. And he was very strong in that as well. So these are very strong actors given a lot of room to act together, and that's always great to see. From the what I like about Stamets is Stamets never Scotties anybody. He's like, no, it's really 10 minutes. I'm not going to post the deadline on you. This is what it is, and screw you. So, like, I'm going to tell you the truth.
That reminds me of, there's a scene in Lost in Space in the first season where they're trying to get the fuel from one ship to the other, and the guy's like, how long is it going to take? And she's like, I don't know, 2 hours or something like that. And he's like, make it 1. And she was like, no, it's just 2 hours. like I can't, the tube can only carry fuel this fast. Like, that's it. That's it. And I like that because we always get those scenes. It's like, it'll be like, I don't know, 5 minutes. Make it 3. It is like, I can't make it 3.
As a lifetime project manager, I learned from that from Scotty. So, and I say this all the time at work. I'm like, anything I tell people I report to is a lie. Anything I tell people who report to me is the truth. And I've been very successful using this method.
Yeah, see, that I was about to say, like, coming from the person who's been on the other end of that, honestly, in my experience, Scottying people comes directly from that, make it 1. I'm like, this cake is gonna take 45 minutes to bake. Bake it in 30. You want soup? I can't change the laws of physics. I can't.
Can I?
Well, I can, and I can make it solid with magic, but it's gonna taste like poo. But like, seriously. So I particularly like the Scottying of people because I've worked for too many people that demand the impossible, and I very rarely have a project manager that goes to bat for my butt. But
oh yeah, that never happens. You can forget that.
Yeah, exactly.
I work hard to be that person. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very much, no, that's going to take 4 hours. Make it 1. No, it's going to take 4 hours. Get it done in 2 or you're fired. I'll see what I can do, but don't expect it not to break when you get it back, type of thing. Like, it's like the negotiation game. You never ask for what you actually want. You got to ask for like 400% more.
Exactly. Yeah.
So honestly, whenever you see stuff out in the wild where it's like, hey, this commercial or this design or this whatever, why this thing looks rushed, it looks horrible, or this looks crappy. Just remind yourself, if you're not in the artwork game or the marketing game, they probably came to them at noon and said they needed it at 2 p.m. Something that should have been a week-long project.
Yep.
Well,
can we get this today? And you're like, today? Oh yeah, I think I can get this done by 6. No, we need it by 2. 2?
Testify.
2.
Testify.
You mean 2, like in 2 hours 2? When I'm already working on 3 other things, that 2?
That you like, also need in 45 minutes. Like, I'm sorry, you're not paying me enough to clone myself. Thank you very much. So
is that an option? Could we talk about that? Because that's a benefit I would be willing to sub in. I can use that clone in off hours. I'm just saying.
But yeah, we're talking about discovery, not multiplicity. So
yeah.
But yeah, so that whole him really trying to bond. And what I will say, and like I said, I'm split because I don't really like the character. But I did appreciate the effort. You know, I really did appreciate the effort. You know, the whole. So, your hands get tingly when you're in the goo? Shut up. You know. Well,
Yeah.
how about I can't quite make you a bunch of biscuits to give to you and saddle you up with dad jokes. I don't know how to be a friend, okay? All right. We'll see. Now you're being honest.
Hugh is the only guy that I can really relate to. Adira and Tilly slightly, and that's about it. So
Don't forget the other engineer that they pulled off of that station, who's played by Tig Notaro, who's a complete. She makes Stamets look warm and cuddly by comparison.
Well,
but she is the bomb. I love that lady. I love that lady.
I'm not saying this negatively. I'm saying this is a positive.
Yeah.
I love her.
She is the bomb.
I want her own show. Just that whole, you're not supposed to eat here. This isn't food. This is candy. It's like an accessory. And my favorite trapped in a Jeffries tube moment between those two going, yeah, we just got to go up there and fix that thing. What? My back's out and you just been eviscerated. We need to call in because I ain't climbing. I'm like, oh my God, I think she's descended from Trip Tucker. She has to be a descendant of Trip Tucker.
I love her character so much.
Yeah, she is every working engineer I have ever met.
Yeah.
You know, she's the real character. Like, I'm in this for discovery. So am I. But you don't have any wonder. I'll have wonder when you guys stop breaking stuff. When I'm not cleaning up your mess, I will wonder how you manage to be competent. I'll be like, wow, these people are so good at their job that I can do mine well. You know, I remember back in season 3 when she was like, I was this close to coming up with an alternative fuel for dilithium, and then y'all took my power. I'm gonna be on Facebook.
Good times.
You know, yeah. But again, the other engineer that gets way too much time. I mean, I get that we're watching the snarky, angry character come around to be a person, but it's one of these characters that I really don't care about. It's
well,
like,
Stamets has been coming around for a while. You know, like season 1, props. I give you that one. But season 2, with Hugh and everything, he started to, he started to open up a little bit because I hated him in the beginning.
Yeah.
But in season 2, I was like, okay. All right, he's opening up a little bit. He's been taken down a peg or two. You know, he realizes he's not the smartest person in the room, or even if he is, he doesn't have to rub your nose in it. You know, it's like those kind of things. And it's just like, okay, cool. Then him and Tilly kind of softened him up. I was like, okay, I'm not pro Stamets, but I'm not against him. I'm like, I let him.
I'm 100% Stamets for one simple reason. My wife is Hugh Culber, and I am Stamets. So I completely 1,000% get this guy. When there was a comic book many years ago of X Factor where they had Pietro Maximoff went to therapy. And he says, have you ever been standing behind somebody at ATM and they're pushing all the buttons and it's taking them forever? And you know that if you walked up in 5 seconds, you could clear up everything that they're doing and get them out of the way? That's my entire life. I'm a speedster. That's my entire life. And every really dangerously what they call highly gifted person or profoundly gifted person, which is something that they test kids for now, all of them feel this way. Like, I can't believe you're still doing this thing that I would have been done with 20 minutes ago. I can't believe it. And it's driving me absolutely batty.
See, so, I got past that a long time ago.
I feel like that, but I've gotten to the point where I'll feel it real quick and I'll be like, you know what? Everybody has their own way.
Yeah,
I'm learning to walk into the Zen.
And not everyone knows what we know.
True. I'm learning to accept this Zen state, and so is Stamets in the future. Yeah, so watching that journey happen, because Stamets doesn't want you to like him. He doesn't want you to like him.
I think Stamets doesn't care.
I'm a one-of-a-kind genius who invented a type of navigation that the entire universe has never seen before. I don't need you to like me. And I respect that.
Yeah, and life is telling him, yeah, you do.
Yeah, Because if
You're
that
gonna
was
be
the
sitting up by
case,
yourself with this jump drive and nobody to fix the replicators, nobody to talk to, and your spouse gonna leave you.
yeah, and your spouse will be gone. You know,
Yeah.
so
Now don't get me
Stamets-
wrong.
but Stamets is cool. Stamets is cool.
He's coming around. He's coming around. It's
he's grown a lot, which is something
Yeah,
that I
a
love
lot.
about this show, is seeing how far everyone's come, and they're still family. You know,
yeah, they family.
Can we talk about Commander Windsurfer? Can we talk about him? Because he came through with the clutch info at the absolute
Bryce?
perfect moment.
You know, Bryce needs more time. He needs more time on screen.
His name is going to be Commander Windsurfer. I'm sorry, we will not accept any of their answers.
Because, yeah, that was like, we could just ride this gravitational wave. I'm like, put the bong down, you hit oil.
I was just like, because Bryce is like on the low. He's just like sitting over there, like, yo, man, I got this. You know, I got jewels, but I'm not gonna overstep my bounds.
Yeah,
I got jewels. I'm not
Bryce
gonna
is a
overstep my
lot like the
bounds.
black dude from the Orville.
Yes.
He knows everything, but he's like, if nobody notices me, I won't have to work. You guys can keep arguing.
Bryce, he embodies a line that I love from Main Source. I wait until the spotlight is mine and never sabotage a good time. And that was the first thing I thought with it. I was like, oh, he stepped up because we need to do this and we need to figure this out right now. We don't have time for y'all to figure this out through your normal shenanigans.
Yeah.
Especially when you got Adira running around till he getting their head bumped or chin toe up.
Yeah.
And snapping on Adira and everything. Yeah. But Black Love moment I wanted to outline. We were able to have a moment where there was a little disconnect, slight I guess roughing of edges, but it did not break them up. They weren't done with each other. They worked through it with one another, and they decided to stick it out, because you don't just drop people at the drop of a hat.
All right.
And I thank you.
I want to comment on that one too, especially in the premise of a Black Love moment. They didn't break up because neither one of them had that friend. Okay? As soon as they started getting that stuff, Saru came in going, you know what your job is, and I get what your heart is. Saru was not, Michael does not have that friend going, girl, he's stepping out on you, blah, 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 blah. So that Black Love moment was actually met with no sabotage.
There's a reason why she doesn't have that friend, because that's something that I was always raised to believe. The people you roll with, that's who you are.
Yeah.
And Michael, don't roll with no suckers. And that goes for the Michael you watching on this screen and the Michael that you're watching on that screen.
Fair point.
Fair point. With no suckers.
Yeah, because I mean that was a real big thing. I'm like, all right, real, honest to God, legitimate insecurity about relationship in relation to the job, in relation to the lives that they had both chosen. And a compromise is going to have to be made. And honestly, Michael was confused about what compromise to go to. And Book was too messed up to even realize a compromise was needed to be made. And you want to talk about real Black Love moment? End of the episode. He said the thing that more Black men need to say in general, if not to their significant others. Forget I love you, okay? We can say I love you every day of the week. And I hope Lady Lisa hears this later. We need to say you were right more, because it was like, no, you made the real, you were right. I wasn't ready for this. I was going, no, I'm all caught up in my feelings and I'm gonna do this. And if I don't survive, then that's fine. I'll be with my people. And I'm totally blind to the fact that you need me too, because I'm all messed up. So I'm gonna go out there. And then after everything was said and done, he was like, yeah, about that. My bad.
My bad, baby.
She hit him with that private channel. She was like, I need a private channel real quick. She was like, boo.
Yeah.
You got this. You got to come back to us. He was like,
and it wasn't your fault. I know what you're feeling, and you need somebody in your corner, not just in your circle. I got you.
You can't handle a corner in a circle. Wow. That's math. I like that.
Yeah. It's like, I got you. I understand. I spent so much time on your planet, I considered it home, and I'm not an empath, nor am I a native. So I can't even imagine what you're going through, but it's not your fault, and you need to drop this survivor's remorse thing. Because the universe
it'll
needs
drive
you,
them crazy.
I need you, and you need you.
You know what? You know what I thought for and I've thought this in many different circumstances. I was like, whither Counselor Troy? Because this is the time when you need a shit freaking counselor. Also, side note, I was on Twitter and I went through this whole thing where people were like, well, she never saw any patients. I'm like, obviously she was Section 31. She was up in every meeting with everybody. She could read emotions and tell. Obviously, she was Section 31. They were like, oh my God, was she Section 31? I'm like,
you are reaching real hard to make that character relevant.
Hey, look, we know that the neckline was why they cast her, but what I'm saying from a writing standpoint, it makes much more sense if she was actually Section 31.
Like I said, you're reaching real hard. But this is also coming from somebody who thinks that McCoy was the worst doctor in Starfleet history. So, you know.
He was rough, yeah.
I don't want my doctor's catchphrase to be, he's dead.
He's no Phlox. He's no Dr. Phlox.
You know.
Well, at least his catchphrase wasn't like, look at the person and be like, well.
Wasn't that Dr. Pulaski? Wasn't that her?
Yes. Yeah, honestly, I am a fan of Dr. Crusher, but then they introduced Dr. Doctor, so, you know, and Dr. Doctor is just like, why do people even go to medical school anymore except for a hobby? So yeah, but yeah,
we do have another relationship that I'd like to laugh at for a second.
Okay.
When Gray asked, like, will I get old in this? He's like, yes, you still gonna get old.
Yeah. And while we're at it, can we remove that?
Still gonna get old and crusty, so too bad.
You know, now it's funny you bring up the Adira Gray character. My girl really helped me out with this because I'm stuck on two levels. Okay. Mm-hmm. I hate snotty teenagers. I really do. I can't stand being around them. Okay.
You didn't need to use both of those words.
Not every teenager is snotty. Okay, not every one. However, that character gave me my happy Tilly moment of, okay, are you doing this? Are you doing this? You don't have to check my work. You shut the hell up. We always check everybody's work. That's part of this job. And it was like,
Tilly went back to the Terran side on that one.
Tilly.
No.
Bring in the Tilly.
No, Tilly went to the realization that she's the boss. So she had that revelation of when she got snapped at like that. Because we all go through it. When we're young, we're new, we think we know what we're doing.
Who snapped at her? Was it Stamets? It was Stamets. And he was right? What? He was right?
Stamets was right.
Writer, you know. But yeah, but Tilly had to have that moment where it's like, you're smart, you're a kid, you don't know how we do things here, shut your face and give me the numbers. And I'm like, okay.
How can I give you the numbers if I shut my face though?
You write them down. We got pads everywhere, you know. And the part that I'm like, oh God, she just had a crusher moment. I don't like the Wesley archetype on the ship. I don't want to watch a teenager grow up. But then you got Gray, you know, that cool voice in Adira's head going, you know, he's right. You know, no, really, that you know, stakes are too high not to second guess all work. And didn't the other dude catch you in a miscalculation like last episode? I'm just saying, you know.
Okay, Adira, putting Adira on Wesley Crusher's level is
mean.
It's okay. I did not like Adira at first. I didn't. I was like, why are we bringing this young person into this show? We got adults handling adult situations. It's danger. It's you know, space pirates and people getting shot. We don't need kids. But just like Stamets, I'm not mad at her. I'm not like excited. I'm not like, you know, like, go Adira. But I'm just like, you know what? Okay, she's here. You know, she's you know, it'll work out. I do
just
want her
don't
to be
like-
with someone
Let me
who's.
break this down. First of all, because I believe, if I remember correctly, the pronouns are they for Adira. But
Oh, sorry.
second,
They, yeah.
Second,
And if you're watching this, it's not a diss. I'm not before y'all even go like, oh, he was doing this on purpose. No, all right, it's on accident. So stop it.
Let me break down why Adira is amazing and belongs on the show. First of all, Adira, as a teenager, 900 years after the Discovery was created, means that her elementary school education was greater than the graduate education that anybody on that ship has.
I'm not arguing that she does that. I'm not saying that Adira don't belong on the show. Number one.
What I'm saying though is, here's the second thing: that if you've already got awful engineer Stamets and awful engineer Taro, you need someone to mix that up and change up the game. And
Is that part of his? Is that part of his title?
If you get, yeah, absolutely, that's on his business cards.
Awful
If you
engineer.
get somebody who's technically smarter than him, who has more training and more processing power than him, and forces him to understand some things differently, then you create a wonderful creative tension on the show that ups the science level by a drastic level, which I desperately needed, and which forces human contact and human change in the characters, which the show desperately needs. Everything about Adira is perfect for the show, including the ghost Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore gag that they're continually doing. I love that. I'm all in for it. And every instance of Adira on the show continues to evolve that way, because every time Adira stumbles, we see how Discovery stumbles. Because these people are dinosaurs. Imagine somebody from 900 years ago popping up in this year. They wouldn't know what the heck they're doing half the time.
I don't know.
But
You
see
just
them
described
able to
most
look
of the
at
staff at
situations in a
Spectrum,
different
so.
perspective.
Oh, fam. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Oh, and also the hate that I had for Gray last season is about to be alleviated, because in shows, I don't like the shows where it's like the invisible person can talk to him, and I've never liked that. Even though I'm someone who loved Supernatural, I could not stand it when there were invisible people talk. I just don't like it, no matter what show it is. But Gray about to be real again. Oh yeah, so everything's fine. You know what I'm saying?
I guess.
I was trying to hook Adira up with a real person.
In people's ears, so I'm good with it. I'm like, whatever.
Well, I see myself growing to like Adira. I guess my problem is I don't like when the adolescent character needs to be put in their place. Because when I recognize they need to be put in their place, I'm officially annoyed. Like with my immersion as a voyeur, I'm just like, oh, shut up. And then when there's another character that goes, oh, shut up, I'm like, see, the writers knew. I'm a rube. Fantastic. But yeah, that's I get a little tired of that.
How smart can Adira be if she's never used Gray in some kind of like poker game on the ship after hours? Come on, man, it's a slam dunk.
First of all,
it's a slam dunk.
First of all, they live again in a post-replicator, even from where they were, a post-replicator society. So that kind of you're thinking like a black person in the present.
Uh-huh.
People in the future don't have those thoughts. They don't need to game people that way, because
don't need those thoughts. You little nasty person.
And truth be told, let's play out the scenario, okay? If there was a gambling thing on the ship, a few of the bridge crew knows that Gray is there. The rest of the bridge crew are kind of going, I don't know. So if there was any invisible person or any person that was saying, I got an invisible person in my head that can see and talk to you and all that stuff, and then the doctor proves that it's there, they wouldn't get invited to the poker game. Seriously.
Now, Clever Little Vixen says, what happens to Tao when Gray gets a new body?
Well, they already talked about that. They already talked that when Gray gets a new body, Gray could take another symbiont on, because the biological functioning is already there for it. So the Tao will stay with Adira, and the new symbiont will come. Yeah,
that is a huge polyamorous relationship.
Hey, Roddenberry's vision.
It's going to be extremely. Facts. It's going to be extremely interesting to see the invisible people that might show up or can possibly show up, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do like the idea, even though I know she had to go to the baptism waters or whatever. Like, I do like the idea of like going in your headspace and be like, all right, guys, look, I need answers. And like having like 10, 12 people to be like, hey, like the Avatar state. Like just being like, hey guys, so what do you think we should do? You know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually kind of cool.
Now that they've introduced that, I hope they use it more. I hope they use it more often. What I like, I can see a lot of character things that go on. Like if Gray gets another Trill and it doesn't like the one that's in Adira, that would be a fantastic relationship. Like, you know, because we're assuming that everybody gets along. But on that, I forgot the name of the conglomeration planet, but the Vulcan president.
Navarre?
Yeah, the Navarian High Chancellor. I do like the fact that the Navarian High Chancellor is a little bit more Spock than they're letting on. You know, a little bit more Spock, where it's like, oh no, Navarro, stand with you. What? Well, this is a threat that's so big, we need as many hands on deck as we can get. Yeah, I got no feelings about this, you know. But simultaneously, there was something about this episode that I kind of went, all right, I see you guys are drawing it out, which is the president was there. And the president did a little bit of politicking, but it's like, no, I don't want to take my eyes off that one.
Karen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, I don't really want to take.
I noticed the president of Navarre, her fashion style wasn't up on game like it was last season, but well, you know, maybe it was she had to rush to this.
I think the President Navarre kind of rolled out of bed for this one because
this was a rush meeting
real quick on this.
Because last season I was like, damn, they got some fly threads. All right, I see y'all. And like today I was just like, oh, okay, well, you know, I mean, it's nice, but you know, it's not your usual flavor.
Honestly, I'm with the just rolled out of bed thing because it's like, hey, there's a gravitational wave that's just kind of wandering through the galaxy, destroying planets. Can we talk? What? Okay. What? All right, hang on. Let me throw on my slippers.
Yeah, don't stop to put your makeup on when the planets are getting destroyed. Don't do that. Don't do that.
And looking at it through that lens,
yeah,
the fashion
especially
game wasn't as tight
through a Vulcan lens.
But if those were just Vulcan pajamas, then the fashion game is still on tight. It's true. It's like, wait, you sleep in that? And how do you get your bowl cut to just always, like, there's never a hair out of place.
Never. And you'll never see one. You know why? Because if you remember in Friday, the way Regina King slept, that's the way both
Keep that bowl cut on.
Snore.
Keep that bowl cut perfect, man.
You know. But yeah, so with the thing on this though, one of the things I really appreciated, was that this episode really did get back to the roots of Star Trek. And I'm talking like, there might be a monster, there might be a hostile force, but just going out and getting information is hard enough.
Yeah, like this could be just a space tornado.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of, you know, or space.
I need to go pitch that. I'll be right back.
Hold up. Let me go with you. We can at least get $40 from Asylum for this. Space Native.
No, not only get $40, but then they'll be like, and bring back my change.
No, I didn't say to make it. I'm just saying to sell them the idea.
Oh man.
Space NATO. Add sharks. Yes.
Add some sharks.
Space sharks.
Then there's somebody with a clipboard saying, is there any way we can get Jason in this one too? It's like,
dude, this is Asylum Pictures. They can't afford Jason.
They can get Jason Statham.
Do we have a tall guy that we can put in a mask?
We'll make it a catcher's mask. I'm calling it You know,
Oh,
goalie and catcher
boy.
are the same. That's
It's close.
but yeah, so the information gathering section of this I thought was really good.
It was good
where
to
it's
see
like-
everyone come together and no infighting kind of thing.
Commander
Well-
Windsurfer.
Yeah, putting aside
Yeah.
the infighting for the environment is bad enough. There was a
He's trying to
time.
kill you.
Yeah, there was a time during many Star Trek shows where this mission would be happening, but then, oh my God, the Packlets are here, or oh my God, the Romulans have shown up, or oh look, the Borg's out in this section of space because we need a combat scene, and it's like that ticking clock.
We need a combat scene.
Yeah, seriously. Like, seriously, there are very few episodes of Star Trek post Voyager, or not post Deep Space Nine, where it was just about getting info, doing a thing. It became more formulaic, and Discovery is going away from that right now, where it's like, we don't know what's going on. We need to find out what's going on. And finding out what's going on is an adventure in itself. Now, speaking as a gaming GM, this is why I hate when players skip the exploratory part of the campaign. When it's like, okay, yeah, so we just go to the town. I'm like, no, you don't get to move at speed of plot. You know, because you're going out into the forest, or you're going out into space, or you're going out to something else. And the environment is hostile. You know, I mean, this is like one of the major things, like,
Crack
in the
open my
olden-
counter
olden-
table here. Yep.
yeah, in the olden days that Star Trek is based on, just sailing across the ocean was hard enough. Okay. Well, you know, sailing across the ocean was difficult. I can't say it was hard enough because we're here. But sailing across the ocean was difficult and dangerous. So the fact that people made fortunes just saying, I got stock in this spice company that's going to the new world, and when my ship comes in, I'm going to get paid. And they would wait years, sometimes decades, because just being out there was hard enough. There are storms and swells and squalls and tidal waves and things that inspire special effects artists to make monsters that you never want to come in contact with, and monsters that you never want to come in contact with. And Star Trek itself was based on the stories of Horatio Hornblower, the sailor. So that whole idea of being on the boat, being out in that space, okay? You know, being out there is tough, it's dangerous, but there were, hey, what's up, little man? There you go.
Say hi.
All right. Yeah, there you go. Just being out there is tough enough. And the big ticking clock problem with this episode and a couple of other episodes of Discovery was written well enough to where it shows we just got to go do a thing and we don't have to talk to anybody, and we still might not survive. And, you know, I really, really appreciated that aspect of this episode.
For exactly that reason, because that's my original rationale. Space is trying to murder you all the time. It doesn't have days off. It doesn't take breaks. It doesn't have any OSHA regulations that say it should stop working. It's just always at it. And seeing that in action this way, as you say, with a ticking clock, forces you to not need to develop an external antagonist from a writer standpoint, and also forces you to give better room for the characters themselves to interact, which is why we got Commander Windsurfer. We didn't get him last week.
Yeah, you know, I wish we had been friends a lot earlier, because I would have loved to have seen Gravity with you. The sci-fi writer and the budding scientist going, no, oh God, no, okay, you stop, no, that's your air, no, you needed to find a better way to break. And hey, a fire out of nowhere. What did you do to piss the gods off? You know
what you did. You know.
Well, Sandra Bullock might have known, but we as the audience.
No, not.
Look, for anybody that is studying science in school, the second most frightening movie that you will ever see is Gravity, for exactly this reason. Because space is ugly, hostile, and hungry for flesh.
I've actually never seen that movie.
neither. Me neither.
Really? All right, y'all need to watch it, especially you, Hannibal, because it's real science. And it's, hey, space looks awesome, and then, oh God, no, oh God, oh. You won't like the ending, but everything that leads up, and every single action scene that you see in that movie, you're going, yeah, I'll stay here, thanks. Like, it literally is anti-astronaut propaganda. Like, hey kids, you want to be an astronaut? Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Like, seriously, because this is plausible. This is super plausible. Here's the spreadsheets. And I thought you'd seen it because you keep quoting everything I said when I was watching that movie.
No,
Space is out to kill you.
I've been saying this since Space 1999 was on TV. I've been saying this since the original Battlestar Galactica was on TV.
Oh, with Lauren Green?
Information I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, because, again, just being out there is tough enough. And Discovery is putting that back into perspective with, like, we got to go over here. And I think it was from the Wrath of Khan on, where that lesson started getting lost, because they were hiding in a nebula. And it's like, you don't want to hide in a nebula.
Ooh, that's actually a good point. That actually reminds me of something. In this, there's an Orville comic that just came out called Orville Artifacts, where an ancient civilization that predates all of the current civilizations hid a fleet of warships inside of a nebula because their technology was advanced enough that they could do this. Whereas even today, hundreds of thousands of years later, the technology has not made it easy to do. So the Orville tries to crash through this nebula, almost gets blown up, and the only way they can get out is inside one of these ships. Mm-hmm. But then there's a whole other set of shenanigans. So yeah, and I like that because they created this, 100,000 years ago, there were these jerks and they were really rough. But don't worry about them, they've been dead forever. The problem now is that space wants to murder you all the time.
Yeah, and Clever Little Vixen says, what's the line? Death and disease wrapped in cold and darkness? Or something like that?
Darkness and silence. Yeah, darkness and silence.
Yep.
Yeah,
that all checks out.
Space is not an easy place. But no. I will say thank you to the show for, of course, giving us a break from President Karen. That was good.
She was talking to the manager. She was out talking to the manager.
Yeah, she was out talking
now,
to the manager.
When Karen is the president, what manager does she talk to?
That's her problem. That's exactly her problem.
Got it.
That's exactly her problem. So, with that said, guys, we got tons of stuff for y'all to get y'all, pontification on. But we are at time. We can't be holding these brothers all day long. All right. So in the bottom square, you know them, you love them. Hannibal Taboo.
Thank you for having me. You can find me using @HANNIBALTABU. That's on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, the right nacelle of the Discovery, the left nacelle of the Voyager, and everywhere that you'd like to be. You can also find me on my reviews every week on Bleeding Cool, comic book reviews. I just found out that Project Wildfire, due to printing shipping issues, will be available December 22nd now. Even though I turned it in a long time ago. Not my fault. Blame a global pandemic for messing up the supply chain. Not my fault. So that will be December 22nd in comic book stores, Spirit Willing and the Creeks Don't Rise. As well, you can read False Flag for free on Operative Network. Binge the entire season with illustrations by DeMar Douglas. Again, thank you for having me.
Cool. And right over here, Solar Gray.
Hey guys, I'm Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, and you can find me at twitch.tv/BID_P, where, God, so many shows are coming up lately. We got the Dark Side of the Room, where we talk about games in relation to game theory and the life that you actually want to live. We got playthroughs, battle reports, and tutorials that are coming out Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. at twitch.tv/BID_P. Hey, if y'all ever wanted to learn how to do movie special effects or build train sets and stuff and went, you know what, that's too expensive, I can't afford all that stuff, come on down, grab yourself some foam core, a box cutter, and some cheap paint, and we gonna hook you up. You can also find me at Solar Gray on YouTube. And you can drop me an email with any questions, compliments, or any requests for details about the community outreach stuff at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. Oh, and while you're here, you should push that like button and that subscribe button here on NERDSoul and hit that bell for notifications, because one of our mutual friends is like, man, you're prolific. And I'm like, you think I'm prolific? You need to check it. You need to check out NERDSoul. This dude is dropping videos like 3, 4, 5 a day at some point. So yeah,
weekends only, guys. Weekends only. No, weekends only. You know, we're trying to make small moves. All right, and this is where you come in. All right, you can open up your cell phone right now. Look through all your contacts. No. I'm not going to give y'all the the pyramid scheme stuff. Just hit the like button, thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. But if you don't like it, send President Karen after you. All right, she's going to undermine you at your job every day, and then when you like, can you do this? She's going to be like, "I go ahead."
And she'll mess up your performance review. That's the worst part. You're not going to get your raise.
Yeah, and what she'll do is like give you all the points. Like say you need 40 points for a raise, she'll give you like 39.5 points. But you won't get the raise.
This is post-COVID United States. Ain't nobody up for a raise.
I just got a raise. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm really good at what I do. I'm really good.
No raise and no bonus. You're not getting none of those.
I also got a bonus.
And yet you're not on either of our Patreons. Fascinating.
Oh, you know why? Because I'm on them Kitreons. I'm contributing to those.
The Kitreon. That's a whole nother level. Using up all your soap, eating up all your food.
Okay, how do they use so much soap? They're smaller than I am.
Like, why is all the soap gone? I wanted to use soap for myself. Where's the soap at? Why do I have to order soap again?
See, now you got to do that Arrested Development thing of hiring a friend that has an amputated arm and be like, oh my God, we ripped his arm off. And that's why you leave a note to buy more soap. That's all I'm saying.
I've been asked not to traumatize the children that way multiple times.
So, with that said, guys, a little bit of parenting information for you. NERDSoul. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those places. Of course, subscribe, hit the bell, share this, tell your mom about it, your daddy, your grandma. Your grandma ain't doing nothing. She retired, all right? Your grandma can watch NERDSoul all the time. You know what I'm saying? Be like, and then she can share NERDSoul at the bingo game, and then all of them could watch it. You know what I'm saying? And they got tons of time. And we know watch time is important.
The bingo game was shut down because of COVID. Sorry.
Good point. Yeah, that's right. Bingo night shut down. But we're going to leave y'all with P.L. Parker Lewis and Arcatron until later with Sports Tonight at 7 and some Guilty Gear Strive. Yes, at 9 o'clock. It's been a long time since I played, but people are going down because my skills have not left. All right. So from us to you, thank you for watching and peace. Yeah. We out.
I'm the man, yes sir, that killed the bear barehanded so the people won't forget it. Getting money for I was legal to drink. I care what a broke nigga think.
Just like the Parker Lewis.
Look, everything I do so cold. I can do this, both eyes closed. Too short, I stay on my toes. About that guap boy, anything goes. Help the bear if we outside. Help the bear if we outside. Still tipping, baby, nothing changed. I'm still grinding over here, yeah. Still sliding through my own lane. Shorty, nothing funny over here. Dallas rain everywhere around me. Dream to get money. Made it through the storm, living sunny. Dreams came true, now we eating. I got more dreams to chase, gotta reach them. Trying to put a team together like the Hunger Games. Everybody grind together, we all came from Hunger.